AI nightmares, diet soda, and spinning wheels. Are we at the end of life? What's going to happen in a couple of years, and will that affect our change to a tech career? Welcome to How to Switch to a Tech Career in Your 30s and 40s. It's the podcast where we love to get excited and down to brass tacks, talking about the real things that help you move the needle when you switch from any other career into a high-tech or IT career. And this is where we're going to discuss the real hints, tips, tricks, and the methods and the protocol that help you switch into a real tech career. So welcome. Well, is AI going to take your future job? I hope not. I hope that you're aware that AI is real. It's here to stay, and there's nothing that's going to stop it. You can be scared of it. You can deny it. You can pretend that you understand it and are fine with it. But one thing you can't do and really have any sort of good results from is ignore it. So if you want to ignore AI, you will probably lose out in your future job. And the reason for that is AI is not coming for your job. AI is simply going to affect your job. It could replace your job, but AI has no desires on its own. This is not software. It's not a program someone wrote. It is a neural network stored on large computers, large networks, I should say. And without describing it in too much detail, AI is, in general, when we talk about AI, we're referring to what companies have been producing for a long time, but now is approaching the level of artificial intelligence and general intelligence almost, where people can do very, very powerful things that previously only programmers in one case could do. And people are able to do powerful things with natural language commands. We call those prompts. Without creating, software, they're able to do things that basically a lot of people were hired even a couple of years ago to do. Now AI can do these things. And so companies are taking advantage of AI and jumping in as quick as they can. Why? Because everyone else is, and because they see opportunities. So if you want to be left in the dust, just ignore it. If you want to completely reduce your chances to nil for getting any sort of high-tech career, then ignore AI. Ignore everything about it and turn your head when you read or hear about it. I think the second worst thing we could do is be pompous about it and act like it's not going to be a big deal. That's sort of like ignoring it, but that's maybe entering the conversation from a standpoint of piousness and pride, which you have no ability to say the things you're saying. You just are sort of in denial, and we don't want to be there either. But that is a second worst position to be in. Second worst position. I think that the best position you could be in without knowing too much about what the neural networks, large language models, artificial general intelligence, what all of these things are doing. I think probably the best situation you could put yourself in is to learn a little bit and keep learning and keep your nose in kind of in the stuff. Get interested a little bit in it and read articles, watch YouTube videos, and just stay interested. That's sort of what I'm doing without tipping my hand too much to what else I'm doing. I think that's something anybody can do. So once you start watching some videos on YouTube, for example, ironically, the algorithm, we can call it an algorithm, but there is already, as you probably would guess, at Alphabet, aka Google, aka YouTube, there is artificial intelligence, which is helping your search results be catered to what you search for. But once you start searching for a little bit of that on YouTube, you're going to see a lot more in your results. So your homepage at YouTube is going to be populated with an incredible amount of AI specific content. And so get interested in that. I can leave it there without going into too many details. But the truth is that AI is a nightmare for people who are going to ignore it, who want to sit back and just pretend like nothing's going to happen to the jobs. So, there are a lot of AI snobs out there right now, I will say as well. AI snobs are people who either don't know anything about AI, but they pretend that they do. There are also people who know a lot about AI and pretend that the world is past everything else and all it needs is AI. I would say that we're not quite there yet. And we still need developers. We still need programmers. We still need designers. And what we need all these project managers, we need people looking at spreadsheets. We need all of these people to know how to use AI tools and some of them to create AI tools. So if you want to get ahead of the game, create tools using AI. And if you want to stay in the game, learn how to use AI alongside the position that you're trying to get into in tech. Let's talk about diet soda. I used to be traveling around the state of Iowa teaching real estate classes. This was one of my careers. I had a few. And as I traveled around the state of Iowa, I needed caffeine. I didn't drink a lot of coffee. I drank soda. And so I noticed that my weight was gaining. And so I switched to diet soda. After switching to diet soda, I noticed my weight gained even more. My pictures, I noticed, I started to look a little chubby in the face, and I honestly didn't know why. I blamed it on stress. Well, the truth was that stress was the symptom of a problem, and the weight gain was a symptom of a problem as well. And the problem was discipline. So I lacked the discipline to plan things out, and so when I set off for a trip to go teach somewhere, some small town in Iowa, I would not really plan my meals so much, and I would actually look forward to the meals so much. I didn't really like what I was doing a whole lot, so I would just go out and feel free and get drinks at the gas station and drink them up. And I look forward to that. I actually look forward to the diet soda. But it caused me to eat more because that's what diet soda does. And I may be incorrect about the science of it, but I do know this that most of the diet sodas I've had have some sort of chemical that, whether it's intentional or not, the amount of sweetness that's in it, it causes you to be hungry. And so after drinking diet soda, I'd be willing to and ready to eat more and more. Now, the problem again was that I wasn't planning well, and I was taking cheap hits, so to speak, on soda and food. And so my body was really getting, uh, it was suffering. And I'd come home from the trips and go and wrestle with my kids, and I wouldn't have much energy at all. When you are switching to a tech career, there are things that are like diet soda for you. There are things like regular soda, but there are these quick hits that really spikes. Um, I don't know the scientific term for it, but it feels really good to take a course, for example. To start into a course, it's really difficult to finish the course, and it's even more difficult to sit down and plan out the next 2 years of your life instead of just doing what feels good. And so, me drinking the diet soda, it felt really good, tasted really good, gave me a hit, a spike of energy and a spike of, satisfaction. These courses, certifications, boot camps, all of these things are built. They're not built to intentionally throw you off, but they're built to satisfy your need that you think you have to learn, to infinitely learn things. But let me ask you this, because you're listening to this podcast, you must be trying to switch to a tech career, or you're one of my friends or family members creepily checking in on me. Either way, we're going to leave that there. But because you're listening to this podcast, I'm not going to say if you are, because if you're hearing this, you are listening to it. You're listening to this podcast most likely because you're trying to switch to a tech career. Let me ask you when was the last time that you planned anything out for your career? When was the last time you put a 90-day, 60-day, 30-day, 14-day plan into place? When was the last time you put tasks down on paper? The reason I ask you this question, and you can answer on your own, of course, or leave some comments in the show notes. I think on Spotify, for podcasters, they have show notes with questions for you. But when you answer this, don't be hard on yourself, but really consider, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you looking for quick hits with coursework because it feels good to start learning things? Let me tell you, you can learn things the rest of your life, and everybody does, but are you learning the right things? Someone who sits down on the couch and watches shows on their phone for hours is learning things. They're learning things about the shows. Someone who goes outside and takes walks for hours per day, they're learning about nature and they're learning about themselves. Someone who um, plans out their next 2 years and they sit down and they start a course that puts them on the trajectory that they want to hit in 2 years, they're learning something as well. But the difference is, of those 3 people, the first one sitting on a couch watching a show is, they're learning things, but maybe things they can't really use to get them to accomplish their goals. The second person who takes walks is learning things about nature and about their own body. Maybe they're taking a prayer walk, they're learning about God and learning about neighbors, but that doesn't really help them get to their goal. And the third person probably doesn't feel the best right off the bat. They feel like it's work, but the third person is learning something that is setting them on a good trajectory to hit their goal. When was the last time that you felt good about the work you did, not feeling good because you did some work, but feeling good about the work you did because you know that it is going to get you where you need to go? Are you drinking diet soda and becoming addicted to knowledge? Or are you eating healthily, so to speak, and planning out your meals and enjoying things because you know they're going to get you to your goal? The spinning wheels is a feeling. It's a metaphor. If you've ever uh, been stuck in driving your car, I remember being one time specifically. I think I was driving a Plymouth Volare. It's a really old car from the 70s. It was green, and I remember this time specifically in a parking lot in Waterloo, Iowa, where The parking lot was filled with snow, maybe 1 to 2 feet, and there were some tire tracks through it, so I could get through there, but I didn't go through the tire tracks where others had gone. I went into a new portion of fresh snow and behind a KFC on Ridgeway Avenue. And perchance that you're listening to this and you know what I'm talking about, there's an empty lot back there. There used to be. And I remember thinking, oh, I could get enough velocity and go through the fresh snow. But it was wet and it was slushy and a little bit icy on the bottom, and I could not. I failed and I got stuck. And so I was spinning my rear wheels in this Plymouth Ferrari, and I couldn't get out. I had to rock back and forth, and I forget how I got out of there. But spinning wheels is it's a hopeless situation. You feel hopeless. You feel like you can't get where you need to go. You can see the goal, but you can't get there. And that is frustrating. And we need to get out of that. We need to get you to a place where you feel like you're not spinning your wheels. And the quickest way to do that is to, to take the AI example, stop ignoring the things that might scare you, whether it's AI, whether it's learning a specific language, whether it's taking a specific course for project management or whatever, whether it's reaching out to a real person and asking if you can serve them with a program, with a website that you built, with a management of a project, with evaluating their marketing results and doing some data analysis for them. Whatever's scaring you is probably an indicator of something you should be doing. And that is the quickest way to get out of spinning the wheels. Often, I would say for myself, when I catch myself spinning wheels, I don't mind it so much. It can be a very bad thing when I don't mind spinning my wheels. Why? Again, because it feels good to not do anything. It's laziness. For you, maybe it's different. Maybe you're the same. Maybe you're the type of person that fills your time with busyness, but it really doesn't get you to your goals at all. And that is spinning wheels. It could be almost worse because you could be deceiving yourself instead of just knowing yourself and knowing, okay, I'm lazy right now. You may be the type of person that cannot take breaks, but are you really accomplishing anything that's moving the needle, so to speak? I hope this talk has been good for us, good for you. It's been good for us, good for me. I hope it's been good for you as well. And I hope that it's been encouraging, a little bit insightful, and worth the time. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you on the show notes and possibly interviewing you. So stay tuned to hear about that in one moment. I appreciate you, the listener. You took time to join this podcast and listen to the things that I've said. So I want to just say thank you. If you check the show notes, you will notice a couple links there. And one of them is to be an interviewee on this podcast. You can do it using your name. We can interview you, give you some coaching. You can also do that interview anonymously with an ID so that you won't be found out at your current job. So we want to be sensitive to you in that way, but also give you some help. So check the link for that application and for other free information. Join us next time. Thanks again for listening.